Travel Tidbits podcast, hosted by the agents of Pineapple Escapes. Join us as we discuss the latest in travel news, destinations, and tips for the savvy traveler. After all, travel makes life sweeter.
Hello, and welcome to episode 30 of the Travel Tidbits podcast. I'm Celina, travel agent of Pineapple Escapes and huge Harry Potter nerd. I'm thrilled to be hosting this week's podcast about one of my most favorite places to visit, the wonderful wizarding world of Harry Potter. Joining me today for this deep dive are fellow Potterheads and Pineapple Escapes agents Sharon, Jamie Weidel, and Pineapple Escapes newest agent, Nicole Arden.
Hi, y'all.
Jamie, would you like to introduce Nicole to everybody?
Yes. So I'm going to call you Nikki. But she's going by Nicole and her email address. So if you're emailing her, it's NicoleArden@pineappleescapes.com. But I'm going to call her Nikki. But I recently reached out in my Disney Peloton Writers group and asked for interest in being an agent. And I actually ended up with over 70 people who contacted me. And I ended up hiring 2 of them. And one of them is Nikki. And so we were actually just before the podcast talking about riding our Peloton. So we are sisters in the Peloton world and also love Disney and also love Harry Potter and Universal. So there's a lot in common, but Nikki was one who stood out to me. It was obvious she already had a lot of good background information and knowledge about both Universal and Disney, and that was what I was looking for. And I know she's going to be a great agent for us here at Pineapple Escapes. So Nikki, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, your career, your husband, your family, any pets you have, and why you wanted to be a travel agent.
Okay. Well, hi, guys. As they said, I am Nikki Nicole Arden. And I'm very excited to be here with you guys, especially on a Harry Potter themed podcast. Like Celina said, I am a true Potterhead, and it's very fitting that this is my very first Tidbits episode. A little bit about me. I live in Perry, Georgia, which is the best city in the world, in my humble opinion. We call it paradise, which isn't weird at all. I live with my husband, 14 years, Morgan, and our 2 sons, Morgan as well. We call him Mav, and he is 9 years old. And Nolan, who will be 2 next month. And we have a little puppy. He's about 8 months old. He's a French Bulldog, Boston Terrier mix. His name is Rambo. And all of my boys, I love them so, so, so much. Life with them is hectic and chaotic. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I know that sounds cheesy, but it's the truth. I graduated from Mercer University with a bachelor's degree in literary studies and creative writing. And I work full-time as well as on top of being an agent for Pineapple Escapes. I work full-time at Robins Air Force Base as a logistics manager at the C-17 program office. I love my job. I love my career. And I love all my coworkers. One thing I love about my job is that it affords me a lot of chances to travel, places that I never would have even thought to travel to. I've gotten to travel with my job, and I really love it. And like Jamie said, that's how I came into Pineapple Escapes, was through the Disney Peloton group, which is a very unique niche, but it's a really good group. And I'm not going to go into Peloton because, like with Disney and Harry Potter, I can talk about it all day. I love Disney and I love Disney World almost as much as I love Harry Potter. And I love traveling even more. And I've always dreamed of becoming an agent. So I applied, and I guess the rest is history, as I say.
Awesome. Great. We are so happy to have you here. I think you are a huge asset to the agency, and I can already tell you're going to bring a huge value to our podcast today because you know your Harry Potter stuff, that's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So now headed into our At the Core segment. This is actually a special 2-part episode where we will discuss everything we love about the wizarding world of Harry Potter at Universal Orlando and Universal Hollywood. However, this time we are just going to focus on Diagon Alley in Universal Studios. So just to kind of give a little bit of a reference for those of you who are not familiar with the Universal parks and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter within those parks. There are 2 separate parks in Universal Orlando, Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. And each of those parks has their own section, I guess you would say, of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter park. And they're connected by the Hogwarts Express train that you can take back and forth to each other. Today, we are just going to focus on Diagon Alley and Universal Studios. And there is a specific reason for that, and we'll get to it later. And then in our next episode, we will talk about Hogsmeade, which is on the Islands of Adventure side, and then also found at Universal Hollywood. Okay, so you guys, I was thinking to kind of set the scene for anybody who has not been to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. When they are in Universal Studios, walking up to Diagon Alley, what we see is London, and you can see the entrance to King's Cross Station. And then on the other bookend is Grimmauld Place. So you can actually look into the window of 12 Grimmauld Place, which is the House of Black, Sirius Black's home. And you can see Creature, the house elf, peeking out the window, which I think is super cool. And if you can time it just right, you can get your picture with Creature. Another awesome thing that you can find there in the area in front of the entrance to Diagon Alley is a phone booth that actually allows you to call the Ministry of Magic. You just go inside the phone booth and dial magic 62442, and you can get a message from the Ministry of Magic. I haven't tried this yet. Have any of you done this?
No, I haven't.
No,
I haven't, but mainly because I'm a huge germaphobe, and so I just don't want to touch a phone booth. I haven't,
that's
touched
right.
a phone. I haven't touched a phone booth, and I can't tell you how long. And so that's main reason why I haven't done it. But I have heard that you can do that.
Yeah. So when we
That's
were
the same with me.
when we were there for spring break with the whole family, of course, I mean, the kids had to try it. So they did, each of them did. And it was pretty cool. I don't know if it was just when we were there or not, but the Ministry of Magic was not open. And so they received the message stating it was not open. We could not visit right now. And we told the kids, who knows, maybe it was because, there was still some COVID procedures or whatever, that maybe there would be a different message as time went on. But that is the message that we received when we were there. So, but it was pretty cool.
Nice.
It was interesting.
I haven't tried it yet either. I would love to, but like Nikki, I am not trying to get those COVID germs.
Yeah, well, we had the hand sanitizer for afterwards ready. And
I know. Maybe I'll bring some wipes. I'll bring some wipes next time. But yes, I did. We first learned about that when we did the VIP tour at our agent training in November. So some of these cool little tidbits that we've learned, we actually learned in the VIP tour, which if any of you have an interest in taking a VIP tour, we can help you with that. All right. So another awesome thing to check out before you head into Diagon Alley is the Knights bus, which is parked just across the entrance. It's the huge purple triple-decker bus. And of course, Harry Potter fans are going to know this, but it is the bus that transports the wizarding community when they need to get around London. And then you can also talk to the Shrunken Head and meet Conductor Stan and just take a walk around there and see all the cool details there inside the bus. I'm sure all of you have spoken to the Shrunken Head.
Yes.
The Shrunken Head's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He's very funny. Yes.
Hilarious.
That is a must do. You need to have a conversation with him. He's hilarious.
Okay, so I'll have to admit, and like you guys, this is going to sound terrible. It's going to sound like I'm picking on my own son and my nephew, but that's not it. So Rayleigh is 8. I mean, he knows Harry Potter. He's watched the movies. But with us being, Harry Potter fans, he knew like he wasn't going to be able to get his wand yet. He's not of age and all this. But my nephew really we have not had a chance to really fully introduce him into the Harry Potter world. And so it was just really funny watching them to communicate with the shrunken head, because I felt like the shrunken head was like really using some terms that I was cracking up at. And, if you know Harry Potter, like we were like, oh yeah, they had no idea, but it didn't faze them. They just had this conversation. And I was like, I really need a video of this conversation, because you would think that there was two separate conversations actually going on in this one. It really was just a hoot. No matter whether you're a Wizarding fan or not, everybody needs to go do this.
Awesome. Okay, so moving on, I think we're ready to step into that secluded brick wall entrance where muggles aren't allowed. This is for the wizarding community. We get in there through the special entrance, and it's almost overwhelming. I think that the aesthetic there inside Diagon Alley is just unreal. It is so awesome. Your eyes just don't know exactly where to go first. But I mean, I think for me, straight ahead is Gringotts Bank with that awesome dragon trying to escape through the roof, breathing its fire all over the place. That for me is like, that's the showstopper of Diagon Alley.
Yes, definitely. And Celina, I don't know if you know this, but the dragon is a female. So you just refer to it as its. Yes. So that's one thing we learned on our spring break trip is the dragon is a she. And like most dragons, I know one question a lot of the team members get is how often does she blow fire? And the official response is she's a dragon. She's not on a timer. Like, she does what she wants to. Now, the unofficial response is if she just blew, so if you wait about 10 or 15 minutes, you may catch her again. But so that is a piece of interesting,
that is
a little tidbit there.
She's also, the breed is Ukrainian Iron Belly, just in case you were curious.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I mean,
you did your homework.
And like you said, like
you came ready.
When you step into the wizarding world, there's a whole story here that exists. Right. I mean, the books have truly come to life, and when they created this, they brought in not only every aspect they could from the books, but then really took, J.K. Rowling is like, okay, how do we even extend this? How do we bring this even more to life? This is something just beyond the books. And they have done that. I mean, they did their research. They talked to J.K. Rowling, and really that's why, I mean, it is just fabulous.
It is important to note that she had pretty much control over what went in and what did not go into these parks. Yes. She had the veto power. If they want to do something and she was like, no, then it's not going to be in there.
Like soda. So they can't sell soda inside the Wizarding World because it's not on theme. It's not part of what's in the books, what the whole aesthetic is of the area. So I find that really interesting. Even the water is themed. Like everything is on point and themed. Yes.
Yeah, and they do sell beer, but it is a special brew created for, I think they have two different ones that's specially created for the Wizarding World. Super awesome.
Yes.
So Nikki, you have a lot of friends and family that understand that you are the go-to person when it comes to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, or probably anything Harry Potter related. So you shared with us what you tell your friends and family when they ask you how to first experience the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And that kind of also is why we started in Diagon Alley, even though this is actually the extension. It wasn't even the original park. So go ahead and tell us why, or what it is that you share with your friends and family, the touring plan, why you think it's best to start at Diagon Alley.
I can't even take credit for this. One of my former coworkers, who is also a huge Harry Potter fan, way back, when Diagon Alley first opened, he shared this with me, and I have used it ever since. It's a touring plan that it rings true to me, being a Harry Potter fan myself. And I think that it really kind of brings that storytelling that you got from J.K. Rowling's books, and it just brings it to life, literally brings it to life. Like Lena said, it is just overwhelming, and it's just magic right in front of your eyes. And so what I like to tell people to do is that you start off at Diagon Alley, like you've just gotten your letter to Hogwarts, and you are going to Diagon Alley to get everything you need for your year at Hogwarts. And so you start off in Diagon Alley, and you do the things that Harry Potter did when he first went to Diagon Alley. He went to Ollivander's and got his wand, and you walked around. Oh, first he went to Gringotts because he had to go, he had to get a couple of galleons. Then he went to Ollivander's and got his wand and got his all of his robes and everything that he needed for his year at Hogwarts. And I think that when you tour the park in that way, when you are putting yourself in that, it puts you in the story, and it makes it so much more magical for you. It makes you feel like you are a part, of the wizarding world. You're not just, some muggle on the street. You are a wizard yourself. And so just viewing it that way, then of course we'll talk about this more next week. Then you'll, once you've got all the things that you need, you've got your galleons, you've got your wand, you've got, everything, you go and you get on the Hogwarts Express and you go to Hogsmeade and you get to see the castle. And it's just, it makes it so much more fun. I think, especially for when my son went, we did it that way. And it was just constantly mouth, jaw, open. And he was so excited. And it was kind of like, you felt like a kid. You feel like a kid when you tour it that way. And I think it really makes the trip more memorable to do it that way. So
I think it's perfect for any true fan to actually walk in Harry's footsteps. That's a great way to start your trip to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So now I think maybe it would be a good time, since Harry started his journey at Gringotts, maybe we should discuss the main attraction in Diagon Alley, which is Escape from Gringotts, the ride, which is phenomenal. The way they integrated the roller coaster with the 3D technology. I mean, it literally feels like you are right there in the story. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's my favorite ride on that side because it's the only one, but
first let's talk about the queue.
It's awesome.
The queue is one of what makes it so good.
Yes.
You walk in and you see the goblins, and they're, you can actually go up and you can talk to them. And if you say something to them, they'll look at you, and they'll, sometimes if you ask them questions, they might surprise you and might answer back. That's really, really, really interesting to look at.
I've read you should never ask them if they are a house elf.
Oh.
You might not like the
we're
response.
going to have to test that out now. Oh, Celina, now you started something. I'm going to have to Google flights now and be like, all right, going back to Universal.
You might not like their response.
Yeah, no, but Nikki is so right. The queue to this ride is so phenomenal. I mean, not only, are they there doing their banking and their paperwork, but as you walk through, you can see their offices. You can actually hear Harry, Ron, and Hermione like, hold on, are they here? I thought I heard them, are they back there somewhere? But it's also a good point because if you are staying in one of the 3 premier properties that has Express Pass, you are tempted to just want to hurry through the queue to get to the ride. And this is definitely one ride. Do not rush. Like when you get there, there will be little to no wait. I mean, that's the reason we stay at these premier properties is for that Express Pass. But this is one of those rides. Take your time walking through the queue. You don't have to rush because there's no one standing in front of you. Like, if anything, it makes it even better because you can stop and just stare and generally there's no one around you. You're not blocking the way for anybody. And if someone does come up behind you, you can let them go through. It's not going to make that much of a difference once you get to the ride itself. And in fact, the last time we were there, me and Eli, that's when it was, when we went on our mom-son trip, like we had express pass, we were going through because we both had done it. Like we stopped and, took our time a little bit, but we sort of moved on along. And I heard another Harry Potter fan say, and that's the reason you don't use the express pass is because you miss all this. And I really wanted to respond, no, I'm missing all this because I've already seen all this multiple times personally. But if it is your first time, don't feel like you're going to have to miss all of it. You don't. Go at your own pace and enjoy it and really study and look and just take it all in.
I also think it's neat in the queue where they have like the newspapers where you can see like the moving pictures just like in the movies. And I think that's a really neat piece of it as well as the elevator. If the queue is fully working, it wasn't when during COVID, they didn't have all the pieces of the queue working, but the elevator is also a neat piece to the Gringotts, queue as well. So there's so much to take in there. I completely agree though. I think that's definitely a part not to miss. I mean, and obviously the attraction is awesome too, but the queue is on point.
I've also read that some of the actual gold pieces that were used in the movies are props there within the queue.
Right. Yeah. Universal does have some of the props from the movie and scattered around through the parks. It's really neat. Yeah. But yes, you're correct, Celina.
So I have to jump in here. So my family went to the actual studio where Harry Potter was filmed when we went to London. And so we saw the actual sets, like the actual night bus that they use, that, and it was amazing. And we actually did this before we went to Universal for the first time because we were on a Disney cruise and ended up in London on the front end. And so our first butterbeer was actually at the real studio right outside of London instead of at Universal Studios. But if London is on your radar, that's another one for big Harry Potter fans that we can help with because that was really amazing. My girls were only 5 when we did that, and it was totally worth it. So a little segue there, but
yeah, that's
totally 100% going to do
adding that
yes.
to
it's on my list. And my daughter, who's 5, she loves Harry Potter now because we went in February. She was like an okay fan beforehand, but she's 5. And now she's obsessed. She asked me to watch the movie. She asked me to read the books to her. So this is obviously a trip I will be making with her.
How proud were you when she was like, please, can we watch the movie? I bet you just
I was like, yeah,
with pride.
Yes, we absolutely can. Yes, ma'am. I will take that over like My Little Pony any day. Yes, ma'am. My gosh. All right.
But let me getting back, like one of the, greatest things, I mean, Escape from Gringotts, obviously you're in Gringotts, you're, there in the bank, but just right next to it that I think a lot of people miss is that you can go before you go shopping in the stores and everything after you've ridden the ride like 5 times, especially if you go during early park admission, is you can go exchange your Muggle money for wizarding money. I mean, this happens right there in Diagon Alley, and it is fabulous. Like, we have never done that, just us agents. We tend to just pass over it. We know it's there. Okay, yeah, But we actually did it with the boys when we were there, and it was so much fun. They enjoyed doing that. They didn't want to use their wizarding money, so we have it stored away for them. Of course, when it was time to go shopping, they wanted mom and dad to use our Muggle money, to buy them whatever it was they wanted to use. But it is such a great experience, just a great immersion, another way to fully get involved into the world.
That is awesome. It's a great souvenir to keep, but also
it is.
How cool is it to walk up and pay for whatever you're buying in one of these stores with wizarding money, with a wizarding banknote. That is super cool.
Yeah. And, when we were there, when we did this, like the stores were busy and things like that, but the bank was not. It like 5 minutes max, we were in and out. And I'm like, how there's so many people missing this. Maybe they just didn't know it was there. I don't know, but it was a little sad that it wasn't busy.
I don't think a lot of people know about it. So hopefully, listeners,
hopefully they'll listen.
go exchange your money.
That's right.
And now they know.
That's right.
I was actually going to talk about that next, but thank you, Sharon. So moving on to the next attraction, which since there's not too many actual attractions on the Diagon Alley side, I would have to say the next quote ride would be Hogwarts Express, the train. So you have to actually come out of the Diagon Alley and go back to the entrance of King's Cross Station, which is almost, they replicated the actual King Cross Station so well. It looks like you are there in London at King's Cross Station. And a super cool little trick they have set up so that you can go through platform 9 3/4 and then get onto the Hogwarts Express. We took a couple videos when we went in November, and like all the agents like went through, and it just looks like we're just hopping right through the wall, just going right through a wall and disappeared on the other side. So just, walking through the King's Cross Station is super cool in itself. And then when you get on the train, it's a real journey. It's a fun little ride. It's not a roller coaster, but it's super fun. There's like this little show, kind of with the main characters, and it's a different journey on the way back when you come back from Hogsmeade back to King's Cross Station. So you need to ride it both ways, both directions. And in order to do so, you need to have a 2-park ticket. I don't think you're going to get on the Hogwarts Express without a ticket for both parks. So that is...
Yes, you definitely have to have that park-to-park ticket. That's the important part. But one thing that I love about King's Cross Station, and I get a chuckle every time, and that is on the signs, the language. So here in the United States, the little carriage that we push babies in is called a stroller. And you go and they'll say stroller parking and this and that. But in King's Cross, when you look, it says pram parking. And the reason it says pram parking is because in UK, that is what the stroller is called. It's a pram. And so little touches like that really take you out of the United States. And for a moment, you have to wonder, hold on, did I actually cross over the ocean? Because those are the little details that makes the story magical, that really makes you feel like you have entered into this world that doesn't exist. And those are just the special things. I love that part. I do. I chuckle every time I go into King's Cross.
You are no longer in Orlando.
That's right.
You're in London.
Exactly.
Mind the gap.
That's right.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, but Hogwarts Express is awesome. You definitely have to ride it both ways. It's a different experience. And, again, just looking at all those little touches, from the wizarding world, making sure that when you are walking through the platform, that you're paying attention and you don't run into the wall, just don't turn around, keep walking straight.
All right, ladies, now we're going to move on to the food at Diagon Alley.
It's a good thing it's dinner time here. I'm going to need to go.
Butterbeer.
Yeah.
Amen, Nikki. Amen. That's all that has to be said right there.
Literally. Yeah. I spend so much money on butterbeer.
Yep.
It's not.
Okay, so I guess we're talking about butterbeer first. I mean,
guess,
Nikki brought
we're
it up.
gonna
It
have
was her
to
fault.
open-
Like,
You can't talk about food and Wizarding World of Harry Potter and not talk about butterbeer.
you're not kidding. Like, I think my family got tired of us leading up to our trip because I kept talking about the frozen butterbeer. So, I mean, we go early park admission day one. We head into Diagon Alley. And my mom says, I assume you want me to go find a frozen butterbeer while you're on this ride. I said, you don't have to find it. I'll point you in the right direction. Go right down this aisle right here. And there's a place at the end.
So I think we all need to vote. What's your favorite type of butterbeer? So we've got all these different types. We've got the cold, we've got frozen, we've got hot. There's the soft serve ice cream. There's the fudge. There's the potted cream. What is your favorite butterbeer?
Oh, you mean there's
Celina.
others than
So, have you? She's like, I haven't gotten past the frozen.
I'm kidding.
Have you guys
I've tried them
all of them?
I haven't.
I have.
I have.
I haven't had all of them yet. I will say, so the regular, just cold butterbeer, it's good, but it doesn't hold a candle to the frozen butterbeer.
That's
I'm
my
sorry.
favorite too.
I'm not going to get a regular butterbeer probably ever again because
Have you tried the hot
so
one,
now
Celina?
the hot butterbeer actually is my favorite. I do prefer the hot, but when you're there in the summer,
And it's hot.
the frozen is just like extremely refreshing.
Right.
The frozen is just like what my body wants.
Yes.
I need the frozen.
Yes.
So Sharon and I were there when it was freezing cold. Like I had on like 4 shirts. We bought gloves.
We bought gloves at
Universal Orlando. Yes. So the hot butterbeer that day was magical. Like it was.
But don't get us wrong. We had a frozen butterbeer too.
Oh gosh. She's like, the
That
weather
might
didn't
have
stop me.
happened, but if it's hot and you're there in the summer, I'm all for the frozen. That's totally mine. But then when it was freezing, when we were there, was that February when we were there that time? I don't know. We've been there several times this year.
Guilty.
But the hot butterbeer was really good on the cold day. So
yes.
Nikki, you said frozen your favorite?
Again, I haven't had the hot. I've only gone to Universal in the summer. I could not order a hot drink in July. I just couldn't do it. But the frozen, I've had the cold, I've had frozen, and I've had the ice cream and the frozen. Celina, I'm with you. It is. My mouth is probably watering right now just thinking about it. And it's one of those things like you either love it or you hate it. Because I don't, or you just. My husband doesn't care for it. I love it. He thinks it's too sweet. I think it's just right.
It's just right. It's like Pavlov's.
He really needs to try a hot. I bet he would like the hot then because I have found, or at least it seems like people who did not necessarily like the frozen like the hot. Like it really is amazing how this one drink changes flavoring slightly based off of how it's served. I mean,
it's delicious when it's hot. That's for dang sure.
Can't you get like some fire whiskey put in the hot one? Or am I just...
Yes, you can add shots to it. Yeah.
Yeah. My husband
we have not done that though. Okay, that gets added to the list next time.
That'll be the one my husband likes.
No videos during that trip.
Oh, yeah. So my favorite is the frozen. I have decided I waffled back and forth for a long time, but I mean, the second runner up, and it's so close, is the hot. It was yummy, but I do want to point out. Well, I'll point that out after we ask Jamie what her favorite is, because we need to go ahead and decide. Oh, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah. I like the frozen the best, but hot on cold days. But frozen is my top pick. So
yeah,
we're frozen lovers.
Like we're all in agreement.
We are frozen lovers. Yes. But let's give a shout out to the ice cream though. I feel like it may not get the recognition it deserves. Jamie introduced me and shared, very politely her ice cream with myself and Ashley when we were there for the first time as agents, as a group. And she got it from Fortescue's. Thank you. That's a mouthful for myself. I always never say it right. from the ice cream shop there in Diagon Alley, and it's fabulous. But I also had the ice cream at the Three Broomsticks. And I know we're not talking about the Three Broomsticks today. That's the next episode. But I wanted to compare the two just because the ice cream shop is in Diagon Alley. And I have to admit that the soft serve that you get from the ice cream shop, I liked it better. What you get from the restaurant is sort of like, those little cups of ice cream you used to get in school that had, a little spoon. It was packaged like that. And I felt like it changed the taste of the ice cream a little bit. And so definitely get it from the ice cream shop. I mean, certainly you can get it from the restaurant. It is good. It's not like it's not good. We ate it and then ordered more. But I did just prefer it better from the ice cream shop.
So we have to talk about the different flavors at the ice cream shop. So obviously, if you follow my page, I'm a foodie, and ice cream's probably in my top 5 foods. But they have peanut butter and jelly ice cream at the ice cream shop. They have like an Earl Grey ice cream. So there are different ones that are specific from Harry Potter and have more of a British flair. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Usually the ice cream shop is packed mid-afternoon, but I'm not opposed to eating ice cream at 10 a.m. So it has
10
been known
a.m.
to
What are you
happen.
talking about? Like 8 a.m. We did just let our kids have ice cream for breakfast when we were in Mexico.
Lunch and dinner.
So,
it's all good.
Hey.
It's all good. It's all good. But I do think that that's something worth pointing out about the ice cream shop in Diagon Alley. And I think that's a must-do treat on top of the butterbeer. So you're definitely going to be on your sugar high by the end of the morning. So then you're going to have to go to a few other spots.
Too much.
So let's talk about the Leaky Cauldron. This is the one main restaurant. It is quick service. Have you all eaten there? I'm sure you have.
Mm-hmm.
You can't call yourself a Harry Potter fan if you hadn't eaten at the Leaky Cauldron.
And they do mobile ordering now, so you'll have to make sure that you have the app to do your order.
Yes. But if for some reason your app decides to stop working like mine did, don't worry. Don't freak out. You can still eat there too and order the old-fashioned way.
That was entertaining. Were we there or were we at Three Broomsticks? I can't even remember.
Yeah, I thought it was there, but it may have been Three Broomsticks. I don't may have them confused.
They both kind of blend, but I think the neatest part is that it is British food. So you're not going to find a cheeseburger. English. You're not going to find those basic
like English pub
things. So you kind of have to be right. You need to be ready for it to be a little bit different, and that can sometimes be more challenging with children. So.
And if you do have picky eaters and you are planning to go to both parks, I would advise look at the menu ahead of time because the Three Broomsticks may be a better option for you. How I explain it to my clients is Leaky Cauldron is very much British. If you are an adventurous eater, if you love British food, absolutely do Leaky Cauldron. It's fabulous. If you are not so much of the adventurous eater or you have some picky eaters, you may just want to consider instead doing the Three Broomsticks. And of course, we'll go into more all of that with the next episode. But yeah, the Leaky Cauldron, I think, is my favorite of the
Me
two.
too.
Well, when we were there last,
I love British food.
I had my 2 young kids with us, and we went there for breakfast, and they had the pancakes. Comes with a little side of like sausage and bacon, and it was delicious. Mm-hmm. It was a really delicious breakfast. My husband had the blood sausage, so that gives you an idea of the type of food they serve there. Yeah, like
I can't eat that. The other
like
British
fish
things,
and chips and stuff like that. I mean, most people can handle that. Bangers and mash and stuff like that. So you just be prepared to know what the menu is before you step foot in there, so you're not disappointed in the type of food. But I mean, the ambiance is awesome. It's great it's interesting to me that it's quick service, but it feels like it's more than a quick service restaurant. The way it's designed, it's so nice. The seating areas are very, very nice. And I don't know, the food was really good. It just comes out fast.
Yep. It's kind of neat though. The sign, if you actually look at the sign, the Leaky Cauldron, it actually leaks. Like there's water dripping from it. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's just the
Yes.
little touches that make it just so much more
That's right.
magical. It's really neat.
The
I
small
tried to do a
details.
boomerang of that last time I was there, but it's just so hard to capture it but if you're standing under it, you can totally see it. It is neat.
They're full of surprises there at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. All those little details, I just
They
love
are.
them.
And of course, we can't not mention the hopping pot and the elixir of refreshment, like those. I mean, again, it makes what the Wizarding World is, those places that, you can just get a drink or something like that. Of course, go get yourself a gilly water
juice,
which really is just, that's right, or pumpkin juice, or, like just those places that you can just get a drink and keep then exploring.
Now, the gilly water, you
Diagon
can
Alley
add
while you're there.
different like flavor syrups to it, correct?
I think I
I
haven't
haven't
either.
done that.
I'm just thinking of the bottled water. It's called Gilly water.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they do that there at the Elixir of Refreshment, but they were closed last time I was there. So, yeah, you can kind of mix your own little gilly water concoction, I believe. I haven't done it yet myself. So,
Okay. So we're going to have to test that
Get a
out.
list going.
Yeah.
like, as if we need another reason to go
I mean,
again.
unfortunately, over the past year, due to COVID, some things have not been 100%. So when we've been there exploring it, we've missed, and there's so much. I mean, that's the thing. I love the fact that we have been so many times and we're still finding things. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like there's so many details that you just, I mean, there's things to still look forward to on your next trip. Like for me,
like one of the things, go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say, for me, it's the shows. I didn't make it to they have a couple of shows there at Diagon Alley and I missed them.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Like, I have not seen the Tales of Beetle the Bard. I have seen part of the other one. Is it Celestina's Warbeck and the Banshees or something like that? I have seen part of that. We were taking a rest break and I haven't seen it like from beginning to end, but I have not seen at all the Tales of Beetle the Bard. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to actually being able to maybe catch some of that next time.
Same here. I mean, you can see the times on the app when they're going to start. And I remember like looking at it and being like, oh, make sure you get over there in time. And then I didn't get over there in time because there's so many other things to do. I got busy and I didn't make it. So that is a must see for me next time we go. But I do know that J.K. Rowling herself actually wrote the songs that Celestina sings.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and it was actually inspired. She did that after I don't know if it's after the park opened, but it was like during the process, at least, like after the books. You know what I mean? It was an add-on specifically for Diagon Alley.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That is pretty awesome. But I have to admit, okay, so this is not a show, but it is entertaining for me. One of the things that I absolutely love about the parks and the Wizarding World is seeing all the kids, and not necessarily just kids, but adults too, with their interactive wands. I mean, to me, that's a show by itself, standing at the umbrella by the bathrooms and seeing whether they're going to get wet or not, or over by the fountain. And, that's just so much fun. And I know my nieces and nephew, like I think they said they spent like 2 or 3 hours in Diagon Alley just doing the spells. We didn't stay and do it because we had to get over to Hogsmeade to do something. But that, for me, that's just a show, and it's not even an official show.
I will say, I think the interactive wands they played a very big part in my daughter suddenly becoming a huge fan.
Well, you start off, you can just go and buy a wand. I'm pretty sure Celina will talk more about this, but you can also have a wand ceremony and have the wand choose you from OnlyFansers. So that makes it even more, especially for my son who got, his wand, and he ended up choosing the wand that chose him to purchase. And he loved it. That makes it so much more fun because it's like, he's like, this is my wand. This is one specific for me. And it made it so much more fun. So when he was doing the spells, he just so giddy. I love
So
it.
we didn't actually do Ollivanders. There was a bit of a line, and they did say that for each group that goes in there, you have to, and it's easier to kind of see how many people are ahead of you during COVID when people were distance, when you had your groups distance. But for each group that goes in there, expect to wait, 10 to 15 minutes. So the line could actually be quite long, but probably very much worth it. I haven't done it yet because my 5-year-old was not going to wait in line. She wanted her wand, and they have other kiosks throughout the park where you can go and get your wand. And that's what she did. She picked her own. It wasn't the one that I wanted her to get, but she is she knows what she likes. We recently had this issue with buying her new backpack for kindergarten. I'm like, don't you want this one instead? And she's like, no, I want the one with the unicorns. So anyway, that's how she was with her wand. She knows what she wants, and she still loves her wand. She got the wand that Lacrissa Malfoy's wand. I've actually learned to love it too. I didn't really like it at first because I was like, well, it's a little brutal. But
she was hardcore,
she's pretty. She turned out to be an awesome character. I like her. I think it looks like it's got like rhinestones on it. And I think that's what my daughter liked about it. But I think, go ahead.
You have to be careful, like with the ceremony. So in the ceremony, there is a group of people who go in there, but only one kid is chosen to actually go through that special part where the wand chooses you. So it is a fabulous experience. I mean, it's fabulous to do, but just because you're in there, just beware that your child may not be chosen to go through that extra special part where the wand chooses them. If they're not, however, definitely go into the wand shop there. And I mean, there's a couple of ways you can pick your wand. Either you or your child can just pick whichever wand you want, or you can do like myself and Robert and Eli did, and actually have the wand speak to you a little more through your birthday. And so the wand experts in there are fabulous, and they can actually align the wand that should be yours, and have you matched up that way. And that's the way we did. I'm a little jealous because Robert and I got our wands when the Wizarding World first opened up over in Islands of Adventure. And so ours is not interactive. There was not interactive wands back then, but Eli's is interactive. And I have to admit, I have thought about stealing his wand the next time I go so I can play around with it. So I have to go back and check and see exactly the method it has to be stolen so that the wand can work for me. I gotta maybe go read the books again or something and see.
You have to challenge him.
Oh,
you have to best the owner of the wand.
Thank you. Yeah, so I may have to do that and see if I can win so that I can go and play when we're there the next time around.
I like it.
So, I guess, of course, I could just go get a secondary wand. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm definitely wanting to take my son in there when he gets a little bit old enough, so I have that experience, because I feel like got a little bit gypped because I haven't had that experience yet, but we still have a chance to go back and do it now. What?
Yeah, so Rayleigh, when we were there, Rayleigh was upset, and I have the cutest picture of him sitting on the steps there with like the sword that he had bought in Universal, pretending for it to be his wand because we would not let him get his wand yet. We told him, we were like, no, you're not old enough to go to Hogwarts yet. We're not doing this. So he knows when we take him the next time and he's old enough, we're all going, and we're also going to buy our robes there in Diagon Alley. And we're going to have some special Wizarding World pictures taken, have a photographer come in and celebrate the fact that our youngest child, we are now all officially wizards, and we all have our wands, and make it special for him because he was a little upset he did not get to enjoy the fullness that the Wizarding World has to offer. And so, but it's something to look forward to. He's mentioned it several times, and we told him, we said, as soon as you're ready, we will put the sorting hat on you. My gosh. You will be sorted into your house, and we are going to make a big deal of this.
So sweet.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even think about that, making my daughter wait until she's old enough to attend Hogwarts. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
it is a really good idea.
I was more like,
full on Harry Potter nerd. What can I say?
Yeah. That's for someone who knows they're going to go back to
That's
Wizarding
right.
World,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, if it's you think, okay, I think we'll do it once and may not enjoy it, even though I don't think you'll go once and will fall in love with Universal, then yes, definitely take advantage of everything. But if you are huge Harry Potter nerds like we are, get into the story, like really make it come to life for your family.
And you can definitely there's different stores on Etsy that you could go on there and order, have an official Hogwarts letter mailed to your house for your child. I didn't get a letter because my kid's not old enough, but I did buy them a ticket on the Hogwarts Express. And that's kind of how we let them know that we were going there. So that was kind of part of the fun too.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that letter for when he is. But we did let him go and shop. He's not like he came out of the Wizarding World with nothing. We did go shopping, and which again is another fabulous part of the Wizarding World is all the shops that have come to life.
And there is another.
So maybe we'll talk about favorites.
There's another wand shop there in Diagon Alley as well. The other famous wand maker has his own shop, which is Wands by Gregorovich. So you can also go and get your wand there if you, like me, don't have the patience to wait for Ollivanders. And then also, so when you're casting your spells, there's over 24 spells to cast between both worlds, Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley. And I think there's even some secret ones that you can find in Nocturne Alley, maybe. And those are cool to find. So basically there's these little gold medallions on the ground. And you can, when you're walking around Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade, you'll find these on the ground. And it'll tell you, well, when you buy a wand too, you'll get a map that shows you where all of the stations are, where you can do the spells. And it tells you what spell to cast and how to, the specific way to swish and flick your wand to cast the spell. And when you cast your spell, you basically cause something to come to life, whether it's in a shop window or you make a fountain shoot water out. So, and hit an unexpected person walking through. My daughter actually got hit by somebody's spell. And she was like, what the heck?
I'm going to let you in a little secret. That's my husband and I, we like to sit back and watch the fountain and watch the people get shot with water.
Oh no.
It's just harmless fun.
It is.
It's harmless.
Absolutely.
I had a good laugh about it when my daughter got hit.
And all the kids in there are having so much fun. I remember we were passing one young girl. She wasn't young. I mean, she was a teenager who was doing hers, and Eli went by and said a spell, and I don't even remember what he said. And she just turned around and was like, "Would you like a try?" And he was like, "No, thank you. I have my wand." And she was like, "Okay." I just wanted, she was very sweet. She was just offering. Aww. She knew that not all kids in the park had wands, and she was willing to share. And it was, it's really wonderful to see. I mean, as your people watching, just everybody coming together for their love of Harry Potter and the Wizarding World and making it memorable for all involved. Kids coming together.
It's funny you said that, the kids have so much fun doing the wands.
Yeah, I know.
Have just so much fun. And probably, like I've said, my husband that's probably his favorite part. He could sit there and do all the swish and flick and do all the spells. He loves it. And I, for some reason, I can't ever get him to work as well as my son and my husband. The team members always have to come up and be like, okay, this is how you do it. And then they'll do it just effortlessly. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing the exact same thing and it's not working. And my son's just like, well, I mean, it's Leviosa, not Leviosa. And I'm like, okay,
Leviosa. Oh my gosh. I cheat and I look for the sensors to make sure I point my wand right at it.
Yeah. Okay. So TikTok idea, right? Pineapple Escapes agents trying to work their magic in the Wizarding World. I see the next TikTok video after we go to Universal.
My gosh.
I have videos like that. I can do that today.
Oh boy. That's what happens when Jamie's in charge of the TikTok. You just never know what's coming.
All right, guys, we got to talk about our favorite shops. There's so many to choose from. We probably don't have time to talk about every individual one, but just real quickly, let's talk about our favorites. If you have a specific favorite, for me, I think it's because Fred and George Weasley are so near and dear to my heart. I love them. I think they are my most favorite characters in the books. So clearly, Wizard Weezes is my Weasley's Wizard Weezes is my favorite shop, and Diagon Alley is incredibly whimsical. It's a cute little novelty joke shop full of gag gifts, little pygmy puffs. When you go inside, it's just so fun. The colors are just fun. I don't know what other way to describe it other than whimsical and awesome. When you look up at the ceiling, you can see the fireworks going off, and that's just, to me, Fred and George. That's just like their spirit right there inside the store. I love it.
Yes. When you step into that, it's the store, it makes you feel like a kid. Like it is literal, almost kid in a candy store. You're just like, oh my, there's so much going on. You've got like you said, the fireworks, and you've got, if you pay attention, there's extendable ears and the ceiling, and you can kind of hear whispering. And when you adopt a pygmy puff, they like make a big deal about it, and the team members will announce your name and that you just adopted a pygmy. It's really good. It's not my favorite, but it's really good.
It.
So what's your favorite, Nikki?
I love the Nocturne Alley portion of Diagon Alley, and I think Borgin and Burke's is that's my jam. It is creepy and dark, and I love it. It's great. It's got so many different. It's more than just a store. It's almost an attraction in and of itself, because it's just got. I can't even describe it. I think it's because I like things all things creepy and spooky, and that's it right there. I love it.
And that's another store that has a lot of the props from the movie as well.
Mm-hmm. That whole area, I think, is really neat. Like the first time I went, I didn't even get back there. And so then when I found it the next trip, I was like, this is amazing. Like they've done such a nice job with the theming through that whole area.
I'm so glad they had to add that. That's awesome.
It's also a good 10 degrees cooler in that area.
Yes.
So if you're going in July or August and you are feeling really, really hot, go into Nocturne Alley. It's super dark. You can breastfeed your kid and nobody sees you.
Oh my God.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, I'm just putting it out there for all you mothers. It's a good
baby's got to eat too, place. Right?
Exactly. I'm telling you, it is. And it's just, it feels really nice on a hot summer day just to walk through there.
Jamie, what's your favorite?
So I have to go with Madame Malkin's robes for all occasions. So the very first time we went, Anna saw Hermione's gown from the Yule Ball in there. And I was like, no, you are not getting this. This is too expensive, blah, blah, blah. Well, then I went back with the agents in September and ended up buying it for her to wear for Halloween. So she was Hermione from the Yule Ball for Halloween that year. And we actually have the Harry Potter robes because my son was Harry Potter one year. And then the next year that Anna was Hermione, her twin sister Clara was Ginny and wore the Harry Potter robes to be Ginny. So I had Ginny and Hermione one year at Halloween. So that was really cute. But that's probably my favorite store, seeing the gowns there. And it's just, there's so many beautiful dresses in there. And obviously I have a soft spot for my kids and let them be those for Halloween. So I have a very expensive dress and outfits, none of my children, but it's gorgeous. So,
but you have a real personal story tied to that store as well. It's cute. And the mirror in that store, they have a special mirror in that store that you need to check out if you guys go and visit. Make sure you go stand in front of that mirror. Sharon, what's your favorite?
So my favorite is the Magical Menagerie. It's right across the street from Florian. Yeah, the ice cream shop. See, I told you every time. I can never say it right. From the ice cream shop, it's right across. But it is really awesome. They have cages with different pets and animals, and they have steelers and fire crabs and owls and ravens and cats and transforming rabbits. And it really is just a cute little shop. It's small, so depending on how many people's in there, it may be a little cramped and loud. But when you are preparing to go off to Hogwarts, you have to go get your pet, and you definitely have to visit the magical menagerie to do that. I think when we went, all of the kids came out with a pet. I don't think. And then, oh, no, all but one. There was something Jack wanted. I don't remember. And so we had to revisit when me and Eli went. We went on the hunt and we had to revisit. And that time it was just me and Eli in there. And I think that's really when I fell in love with this store. It just really is cute and quaint and just brings, another fun side to the Wizarding World.
I may also own a Crookshanks and a Hedwig from there. So.
Of course. And it's definitely worth saying that if you're staying on property, all these stores can do package delivery. So if you're staying on property, they can deliver to your resort. If it's your very last day and you're leaving the next day, of course, you will not want to utilize that. But it is nice, to allow the kids to go shopping and then have them take it to the resort and you pick it up there. Or, of course, they can do package pickup at the front of the park. So, and it is worth saying that if you're going to, if you're thinking, okay, well, I'm in Diagon Alley, but we're getting ready to go over to Hogsmeade, I'm going to have to carry it over. No, one of the things that Universal does really well is both parks, if you do package delivery, actually has a pickup option on the outside of the park. So you don't even have to re-enter the park to get the package pickup. You can just go right outside of it, which is nice. We utilized that on our last day because we started in Universal Studios, then went over to Islands of Adventure. And then while some of us were heading over to check into our, reservation for dinner, a couple of us went and picked up all the packages back at Universal Studios where we had started that morning.
That is a very nice service that they offer. And I know when we were there last November for our agent training trip, all of us used that service when we went into Globus Monday. Now, we did the VIP tour and that store was not open at that time, but they opened it just for us because we were doing the VIP tour. And for those of you that aren't familiar, that is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter's travel agency. So clearly we needed to go in there and we bought some things. That's for sure. We did some shopping.
That might be an understatement.
We did a little shopping.
That's definitely an understatement. And our tour guide was so fabulous. He worked his magic and did get the shop open for us. Nice we had a couple of people look at us like, who were we that we got to go into a store that wasn't even open?
Right.
So
we're travel agents. That's nice. What? Going into the travel agency. Just doing our jobs, guys. Just doing our job. All right. So I think that's going to wrap up the at the core section, and we're going to get right into the slice of life. Now, normally this is a section where we talk about our personal lives, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. I want to talk about what elements of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter would you guys like to see brought to life at Universal if there was ever another expansion. Is there anything that you guys have thought of like, man, this would be cool if they could create this part of the Wizarding World?
I think that I've seen other people discuss, and I agree. I think the Ministry of Magic really needs to be part of Wizarding World. I would really love to see, maybe have a ride in there that's very similar to one of the books where Voldemort and Dumbledore are fighting. That one is always...
That would be great.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah.
That would be? So I really think that they should do a Ministry of Magic. I don't know if it should be its own just section or if they should just attach it to Diagon Alley or on the outskirts of Diagon Alley, I guess, beside in the London area.
Super cool.
Yeah, in the books, it talks about this beautiful water fountain that's in the Ministry of Magic. And I really would love, like you said, if they did bring the Ministry of Magic to life, to see how that translates from paper into real life would be awesome. But I would love to see personally, Grimmauld Place is right there. And I always want to see inside it, like the books again go into so much detail about Grimmauld Place and the family tree that is located in there on the wall.
Right.
And I'm like, can I please just open this door? I want to go beyond just the steps of 12 Grimald Place and really see inside it.
I want to see Creature like walking past, just scowling at everyone.
Yes. And maybe it could just be like a walkthrough, not even necessarily a ride, but just, I don't know. I would love to see that come to
I
life.
agree. Jamie, what do you think?
I would like to see more of Voldemort. I mean, maybe that's a negative
Spooky?
connotation, but I like
more of the Death
the
Eater?
scenes where, yes, like in the fighting, and like I feel like it's happier maybe than the books really are, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like I'm all about happy, but I feel like there could be a little bit more of the dark side in there that you see in the movies and in the books. So maybe
I think Nikki would probably agree. Sounds like she's got a little bit of a dark side.
Yes.
I think Nikki is a Death Eater. I think she's a secret Death Eater.
Would you believe it? Would you believe it? I'm a Hufflepuff.
Oh, I am
not even
actually, yes.
I'm a Hufflepuff too. I love it.
Yep.
I'm Gryffindor.
I'm Gryffindor too.
That does not surprise me.
So for me, I think I would enjoy a little bit of a more immersive experience. So over on the Hogsmeade side in Hogwarts Castle, you walk through and it's amazing. And we'll talk about that more in the next episode. But I feel like they could take it a step further and have some classes that you can attend. So like a potions class where you can like make your own little person. And it could be, something that you pay extra for. You know what I mean? Kind of like akin to how in Disney World now you can build your own lightsaber, build a droid, something along those lines. I would like to do maybe like a Defense Against the Dark Arts class. Just fit into something like
maybe they teach me how to do my
something like that. I think that would be great. Just like a nice little addition to the experience. It's a little bit different, not totally a ride, but it still brings you into that world a little bit deeper.
Okay, so like I'm going to say the D word, you guys, but like Disney has with the Star Wars and Hollywood studios with the kids, like you can sign up the kids.
Jedi
training.
Yes, the Jedi training. Thank you. I totally I started this conversation and then went blank there. Yeah, so like the Jedi training at Disney, but do that for
the kids with like duels.
Do that in the Wizarding World.
The wand duels and stuff.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need,
there you go, Celina. You got
we
something.
need to contact Universal
and
let them get on this.
I think we need.
We'll send
hello, Universal. You know they're listening.
I should trademark this idea.
If they made it through this far, it's all good. Right?
We'll start the next episode. Universal, if you're listening, please go listen to episode 1 towards the end. We have a couple of suggestions.
Please. All right. We're going to move real quickly into the Crushed It segment, our travel favorite of the week. For me, I'm going to say it's going to be like a hip pack or a fanny pack, whatever you call it. Because when you ride the Gringotts, Escape from Gringotts ride, you cannot have a larger bag, like a backpack or something with you, because you will have to go and put those in lockers and then get in the queue. And then once you're done with the ride, you'll have to go back to the lockers and get your bag. And it is a free locker that they provide for you, but it's just the inconvenience of having to go put your stuff away and then having to go back after you've gone through the ride. When we went, I've worn the little hip pack and it wasn't a problem. You can still get on the ride with that. It's small enough to wear it on the ride. And it worked great. I know I had one already when we went there. Jamie, you bought one with like a retro Universal Studios logo on it. It was really cute. So for me, that's what I recommend.
It's got lots of use too.
That's what I recommend for this part.
No,
for sure, to have a hip pack.
Yeah, it's definitely needed for Universal. And listen, I mean, if you all see my pictures, I mean, I'm not shy about it. I'm on the fluffier side, and I was a little hesitant about using it, but I gave in because, I mean, during COVID, they were only letting so many people, or the height of COVID, they were only letting so many people into the locker area. It was going to be a wait. And I was like, no, we're not everybody waiting. So I can put, my backpack into a locker. So I did it. I got myself a fanny pack. And even then, I mean, I haven't had any issues on any of the rides for me, to be able to wear the fanny pack and still ride.
I think
with
Hulk, you
You can't
can't
take anything.
have
Can't
it
even have a cell
in-
phone in your pocket.
Right, you
No.
can't have
Nothing.
nothing on Hulk. And
Right.
I don't know about Rip Ride Rocket too, I think, are the
Yeah,
two
I
that
think you can't.
you can't have
definitely
anything.
I thought I wore mine on that.
Yeah,
But
and
everything else you
Velocicoaster
can
now.
wear the
Yeah.
everything else you can wear the fanny pack. Even on the mummy, you can wear your fanny
Right.
pack.
Yeah, the new Velocicoaster you cannot.
Okay.
Yeah, the last time I was at Universal, I took a fanny pack, and it was definitely I loved it.
All right, guys, I'm going to put a link in the show notes for you to the one that I personally use. It has several little compartments. It's great for carrying around like a little phone charger, your park passes, credit cards, whatever, your phone, everything that I needed. Of course, when I was there without kids, it's a lot easier. You might have to just take a backpack if you're there with your family. But if you don't need that much, use the hip pack. And this one was perfect for me. It had just the right amount of little compartments to keep everything separated. We'll link that for you. So I think that's it, guys. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's good. I'm excited about episode 2. So if you're listening, make sure you tune in to, episode 2
yeah.
of the Wizarding World, where we get to talk about Hogsmeade, which is wonderful.
I mean, and good thing we decided to make it into 2 parts because look how long we've been talking.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining. Be sure to come back for part 2. We will be discussing Hogsmeade in both Universal Orlando and Universal Hollywood. If you enjoyed this episode, we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and leave a review. New episodes of the Travel Tidbits podcast go live each Monday, and we'd love to have you join our community.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed today's episode of the Travel Tidbits podcast, hosted by Pineapple Escapes. Travel makes life sweeter. Let the experts help you plan a vacation with lasting memories. We'd love to help you plan your next vacation and have you join our community. You can find us on the web at www.pineappleescapes.com and on Facebook and Instagram at Pineapple Escapes.